And I had to enlarge the disc quite substantially on the computer and run some image analysis over it to make it clear so I could see what was a standing tuft and what was patterned. And while I was doing this, I noticed that every so often there was almost a mistake in the diagram. It was like there was a tuft, where there's a square tuft, it had done sort of half size. I thought that's a bit odd, and it seemed fairly regular. I was going round, and I sort of counted up, and it was sort of literally every sort of 8 bytes or whatever. And I thought, oh, 8 bytes, and yeah, some computer side is obviously some sort of binary code. So then I did the straightforward thing. I just converted it into ASCII, which is the standard sort of computer language that you encode the alphabet in. And of course I then started to get words forming out, and I thought, oh, I'm getting somewhere here. So I then did the whole thing for the whole lot, and got this message.
The message is in English and reads as follows: Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Many have been surprised by this message. Are there aliens with such faces that we should be aware of? Or is this a picture of the sender? Does this indicate the start of actual close contact with neighbors in the universe?
My own, and this is only a hypothesis, belief about this, is that there's an effort of the extraterrestrials are gradually trying to communicate with us. A very slow process, giving us a lot of time to digest the fact that we may not be alone here.
Humanity's just waking up to realizing that we're part of a bigger cosmic family of beings, and more and more people are literally becoming more open-minded, and that kind of, it's a bit like the internet. The bandwidth on the internet has increased, and so is the bandwidth in our minds.
I've been researching the UFO phenomenon for longer than the circles, and I think there's a connection between the two. And whatever agency is involved is obviously, and I think I know it's a bit of a cliche now, but it's kind of building up to some kind of contact within a short space of time. I think that these signs, or there are signs, or some of them are warning signs, if you look over the history of the phenomenon. And they work on different levels. They work on a subliminal level of consciousness, influencing people's consciousness. So I think in a way they're kind of preparing us for possibly some kind of contact. Maybe a more open contact within the next few years. Possibly.
I think this is the biggest gift we have ever had on the planet. I think it's the most important moment we've ever had on the planet. I think it brings us nothing but good. I think we should all sit calmly and accept the future, because we're in the middle of a dimensional shift right now. And I think our cousins out there, our sisters, realize that planet Earth is famously like this in the universe, and we are going to be dragged kicking and screaming into the future, and it won't be easy. And I think they are very gently offering us help.
I don't know what it is, but I know it isn't planks and boards. And I may be the only person in the world who can say that, coming from both the science and the fact that I watched one happen. There were no planks and boards. You can throw that idea out. There are people who make them, yes. There are people go in the fields and amuse themselves. They didn't make the one that I saw happen, and they haven't made these others that we've been testing.
Nancy Talbot is not just one of the most well-known crop circle researchers in the world. She's also one of the few that claims to have seen the phenomenon in action at close hand. In 2001, she visited Robert van der Broeke in Holland, a young man who had also said that he had observed the creation of many crop circles. As she was on her way to bed on the second floor of Robert's house, something suddenly happened.
Seconds, minutes later, this tube of light, this brilliant, about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 foot diameter tube of light came crashing down right in front of those windows. Scared the dickens out of me. It lit up the field outside like daylight, but there wasn't really time to do anything. It only lasted for a second or so. No noise, no smell, no electromagnetic response in the skin. Just this brilliant light and enormous force. It stopped, it disappeared. Did that really happen, you know? Before you had time to think about it, another one, same place. Well, whomp, this thing comes down. Exactly the same. The outside lit up like daytime, the inside lights up. And now I'm thinking, God, I hope Robert's seeing the same thing, because you don't want to see this sort of thing all by yourself. Before I could get on a bed, by then I'm starting to get on a bed, and had begun, to yell for him. A third tube came crashing down. Well, by this time, he's halfway up the stairs yelling for me, because he's been watching exactly the same thing from downstairs. Now, from my vantage point, the windows, although very high, cut this tube of light off, at a certain point. He was right next to the windows downstairs and could see considerably farther up in the sky. Neither of us saw anything in the sky from which these tubes of light could possibly have come. There was nothing up there. We went to the windows in the bedroom, looked up, saw nothing, went running downstairs getting ready to go out. And I was a little scared. I'm not brave. Another one of those things comes. I don't want to be underneath it. But Robert, he got brave, and he stepped down, and nothing happened to him, so I grabbed a flashlight, and he went right to the fence, which is about 85, 90 feet behind the house. And there in that field, right on the other side of that fence. And I think I saw steam. I'm not positive. I couldn't really tell because I was just holding a flashlight. But I think I saw steam rising. And there was a brand new crop circle. And it wasn't just a circle. It was an ellipse, as a matter of fact, a very distinct ellipse, with a long pathway going off on the northern end and a crossbar, like a capital letter T. And Robert and I, it wasn't there earlier. We'd been right there earlier in the evening. And there it was.
Nancy and Robert's experience can only be confirmed by themselves, even though it was clear that there was a pattern in the field of sweet peas the day after. Were they really witnesses to the phenomenon that creates all the genuine crop circles? Or was it just one of many variations of the phenomenon? Are there many different players of both normal and paranormal origin in the field?
Now, you've got to remember also that there are so-called man-made designs out there, but at the same point in time, I've come across them where I've gone in a few hours after they've arrived, and I found addition. And I've looked at it, and then I've spoken to some of them afterwards. They claim that they did it, and I said, okay, well, you did that, fine, let's see the evidence. And they produce all sorts of evidence, and then I'll say, okay, now what about this bit? They say, oh, we didn't do that bit. I said, well, if you didn't do it, who did? We don't know. But it's human arrogance to think that we're the only intelligent life forms in the universe. There are others out there that have abilities way beyond what we're capable of doing. Now, just because we can't see it doesn't mean to say it isn't there.
You sit out here in this field, especially for a night maybe, spend the whole night in this circle, in this geometric pattern, which at this time is a complete mystery. You can sit here and you can ask your own fundamental questions, and there's no need for TV or culture, religion. It's like a personal little church for a night, and it's actually very healthy, and it certainly should be looked at very seriously before being ridiculed. Usually the ridicule is stemming from fear rather than fact.
Personally, I think the message of the crop circles is really important, and I think they are one of the most important things happening on the planet at the moment. I think they speak of Earth changes. I think they speak about changes about human evolution. I think we're being stimulated and pulled forward to consider all kinds of possibilities for the fact that the reality which we perceive at the moment is not in fact the entire reality at all.